So what if the main reason you haven't achieved the life you actually want isn't about a lack of work ethic
Right.
or, some kind of flaw in your character or even the state of the global economy? What if the invisible barrier holding you back is just a silent conclusion your brain made during the earliest, most fragile chapters of your childhood?
Like maybe while you were watching your parents argue over bills at the kitchen table.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Today, we're attempting to look under the hood of human consciousness. We are exploring the hidden code that is basically running your life.
It is a totally profound premise, isn't it? Because, I mean, consciously, we all want the exact same basic things.
Yeah, peace, health, money.
Right. Vibrant health, financial stability, and relationships that actually feel like a safe harbor. Yet, for the vast majority of people, the reality is just a stark contrast.
Oh, absolutely. The money slips away the moment it arrives.
It does. Or the relationship turns into a total battlefield.
Uh-huh.
Or this unexplained physical ache just flares up every single time stress enters the room.
And it creates this very specific, really quiet kind of frustration. Like you put in maximum effort. You are doing everything, quote unquote, right.
You're trying desperately to stay positive.
Exactly. You maintain this optimistic outlook, and yet it constantly feels like you're navigating a ship where someone else is secretly steering.
Yes.
Like you're at the helm, your hands are gripping the wheel, your knuckles are literally white, and you're straining to see the horizon. But the ship just keeps drifting toward the exact same jagged rocks you were trying so hard to avoid.
That is, I mean, that's the perfect visualization because the wheel you're gripping with your conscious mind is, well, to a huge extent, an illusion.
An illusion.
Yeah, the true steering mechanism is hidden deep within the hull of the ship,
Right.
and it's operating on these ancient inherited charts.
Okay, wow.
So our mission today is to totally unravel that hidden architecture. We're going to explore how the unseen layers of the mind dictate the physical, tangible world around us.
Which is huge.
It is. But more importantly, we're going to figure out how rewriting this hidden code is the absolute key to transforming your life. Taking it from a passive, frustrating ride into a highly intentional creation.
Okay, but I have to push back right at the start, though.
Go for it.
If I am the one making the decisions,
Yeah.
like if I decide what time I wake up, what jobs I apply for, who I speak to, how can someone else be driving?
Right. It feels totally contradictory.
It does.
Yeah.
How can the outcome feel so terrifyingly out of our control if we are the ones physically taking the actions?
Because your mind is fundamentally divided, and the part you identify as, you, is just the smallest fraction of the whole.
Really? The smallest?
Oh, a mere fragment.
Yeah.
What we think of as our waking awareness or logic or daily decision-making, that is just the tip of a colossal iceberg.
Okay.
The overwhelming majority of human consciousness resides in the subconscious. Imagine it as this vast, silent, infinite vault. Yeah, and this vault is not just some filing cabinet for what you ate for breakfast yesterday, right?
Yes.
Or where you left your keys. It is a meticulous recording device that captures absolutely everything.
When you say everything, how far back are we talking?
Yeah.
Because I can hardly remember my life before, like, the early years of primary school.
See, the conscious mind forgets, but that subconscious vault retains it all. Its recording process begins at the very dawn of our existence.
Wait, like in the womb?
Exactly. While still developing in the womb, the developing nervous system is bathed in a mother's chemical landscape.
Wow.
It captures her fluctuating emotions, the hormonal signatures of her profound stress or her radiant joy, and it actually goes even further back than that, carrying epigenetic echoes from distant ancestors.
Okay, let's pause right there. We need to ground this because epigenetic echoes can sound, it can sound a bit mystical to a highly analytical listener.
Sure, I get that.
How does a trauma experienced by an ancestor actually get into my brain today? What's the biological mechanism there? Because we aren't talking about like ghosts in the blood, right?
No, not at all. We are talking about established molecular biology here. Let's totally remove the mysticism.
Please.
Okay, so your DNA is like a massive hardware manual, right? But epigenetics is the software that tells the hardware which pages to read and which pages to ignore.
Okay, I follow that.
So when an ancestor goes through a period of immense, prolonged trauma, let's say a severe famine or a deeply threatening environment, their body floods with stress hormones just to survive.
Makes sense. Fight or flight.
Exactly. And this chemical flood actually attaches chemical tags to their DNA. These tags don't change the genetic code itself, but they completely change how the genes are expressed.
Oh, like a setting.
Yes, they act like a dimmer switch, turning certain survival responses way up and certain relaxation responses way down.
So the ancestor's body is fundamentally altering its operating system just to survive that harsh environment.
Precisely. And those epigenetic tags, those altered settings, can be passed down through the generations.
Wait, really?
Yes. So an individual today might be born into a completely safe, abundant environment, but their biological baseline is still vibrating with the frequency of ancient scarcity.
Oh,
Their nervous system is perpetually scanning for a threat that ended eras ago. And when we layer that biological inheritance with the observations made during the earliest, most formative chapters of childhood, you get that invisible captain steering the ship.
that is intense. Let's talk about those early childhood observations, actually. From what I understand, this subconscious vault doesn't operate with sophisticated adult logic at all.
Not even a little bit.
It operates more like an overly protective, incredibly simplistic child, right?
Yes, its sole overriding mission is survival. The subconscious does not care if you are fulfilled or happy or
It
self-actualized.
just wants to keep you breathing.
Exactly. It only cares that your physical organism stays alive until tomorrow. Because it's formed so early, it creates these highly simplistic binary rules to ensure that survival.
Binary meaning just good or bad, safe or dangerous.
Right. So if a toddler reaches out and touches a hot stove, the subconscious instantly writes a permanent, unerasable code. Fire burns. Avoid fire at all costs.
Which is brilliant for physical dangers. Like, we need that mechanism.
We absolutely need it. It's a flawless evolutionary design. The problem arises because the subconscious applies this exact same simplistic binary coding to abstract, deeply complex social and emotional concepts.
Ah, right. So let's go back to that kitchen table example from the beginning.
Yeah, let's do that.
A young child is sitting on the stairs, out of sight, and witnesses their parents constantly fighting, shouting, crying, just exhibiting sheer panic over household finances.
A very common scenario.
Right. And the adult conscious mind might look at that and say, my parents lack financial literacy and are under severe economic pressure due to systemic issues.
But the child's subconscious doesn't have that vocabulary.
It doesn't have the vocabulary, and it totally lacks the nuance.
Exactly. The child's subconscious simply registers the profound emotional threat in the room. It sees the people it relies on for pure survival falling apart over something called money.
Wow.
So it writes a new foundational code. Money equals pain. Money equals severe conflict. Money is a direct threat to the survival of the family unit.
And then, the passage of time happens. In adulthood, that same child is taking seminars on building a business, they're trying to save for a home, and their conscious mind is desperately saying, I want wealth. I need wealth to be comfortable.
But their subconscious mind, that invisible captain operating down in the dark hull of the ship, is looking at the ancient chart and saying, absolutely not.
Because it thinks wealth is dangerous.
Exactly. It says wealth means conflict. Wealth means the destruction of the family. We must avoid it to survive. So the subconscious will literally initiate protocols to keep the organism safe from wealth.
How does it do that?
It will sabotage golden opportunities. It will create an inexplicable blind spot when a really good investment arises. Or it will generate this sudden, irresistible compulsion to impulsively spend whatever savings have been accumulated.
And the person is just sitting there afterward, totally bewildered?
Yes, wondering why they keep ruining their own progress. They think they lack discipline, but they don't. Their survival mechanism is just doing its job perfectly based on tragically flawed data.
There is an incredibly powerful, specific example of this that completely changed how I view chronic physical health issues.
Oh, the illness program. Yes, share that.
Yeah, so imagine a person who constantly falls ill. Severe colds, flus, unexplained fatigue whenever they feel neglected or lonely in their adult romantic relationships.
Right.
On the surface, a doctor might just say, well, emotional stress lowers the immune system, making you susceptible to ambient viruses. It looks like a standard physiological reaction.
It definitely looks standard on the surface, but if we dig into the vault, we often find a deeply hidden, highly strategic program.
A program for love.
Exactly. Suppose in the distant past of this person's childhood, they grew up in a very cold, distant household. Affection was rare, the parents were always working, always distracted.
So the child felt entirely invisible.
They did. But there was one exception.
The only time they received undivided love, gentle touch, soft words, and tender care was when they were running a high fever.
Yes. When they were genuinely sick, everything stopped. The mother sat by the bed, the father brought soup. The child suddenly became the center of a warm, loving universe.
Oh, man.
So the simplistic subconscious child observes this and writes a profound, permanent rule. Sickness equals receiving love. Physical vulnerability is the only pathway to emotional safety.
That is just staggering to think about. It is like our brain is running on cutting-edge hardware capable of incredible intellectual feats, but the core security protocols were written by a terrified toddler who just wanted a hug.
That's a perfect way to phrase it. And if we look at the mechanics of this, it explains self-sabotage in every single arena.
Right.
The subconscious is not a malicious entity trying to ruin your life. It is fiercely loyal. It pushes away wealth, healthy love, or monumental success, not to punish you, but because its ancient records mistakenly label those exact things as highly dangerous to your survival.
It's just trying to protect you.
Exactly. It manifests illness not as a punishment, but as a brilliant strategic maneuver to procure love based on an outdated map.
Okay, this brings up a massive existential question, though.
I think I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, if our internal map is drawn by a scared child and the chemical ghosts of our ancestors, what does that mean for our actual lived reality? Is our path completely set in stone? Are we just, biological robots playing out trauma loops until the end of our days?
That brings us to the architecture of destiny. And the answer is a resounding no.
Oh, thank goodness.
Right. Destiny is not a single, immovable stone monument that we are chained to from birth. To understand this, we have to look at reality as having two distinct components.
Okay, what are they?
There's the fixed path, the immutable realities of our existence. You cannot change the geographic location of your birth, the passage of eras, the parents who conceived you, or the fundamental laws of gravity. Those are fixed.
Makes sense.
But layered entirely over that framework is the malleable path. This is an expansive, fluid, incredibly responsive landscape that we navigate entirely through our free will and our energetic output.
And this brings us to the mechanism of how we actually steer through this malleable path.
Yes.
The law of attraction. Now, I have to jump in here and aggressively represent the listener's skepticism for a second.
Please do.
Because that phrase, the law of attraction, has been heavily commodified.
Oh, absolutely.
It is often sold as this mystical, toxic positivity wish-granting system. It's presented as, well, if you just close your eyes, wish hard enough for a luxury car, and never ever think a sad thought, the car magically appears in your driveway.
Which is nonsense.
Right. And conversely, it implies that if someone gets a terrible disease, they somehow vibrated that illness into existence by not smiling enough. How is what we are talking about different from that trap?
I am so glad you brought that up, because that commercialized version is a dangerous distortion. The actual mechanism we are discussing is not magic. It is a strict, impartial cosmic echo. It is grounded in both neurobiology and physics.
Okay, let's break that down. Let's look at the biology first.
All right, in the brainstem, there is a network of neurons called the reticular activating system, or the RAS.
The RAS.
Yes. At any given moment, there is an endless tide of sensory data flooding toward you, a vast ocean of information. Your conscious mind cannot process even a fraction of it without short-circuiting.
So the RAS acts as a bouncer at the club of your consciousness. It filters out the noise.
Exactly. And how does the bouncer know what to let in? It looks at your subconscious programming. It filters reality to prove your dominant beliefs true.
Wait, to prove them true?
Yes. If your subconscious believes that money is scarce and dangerous, your RAS will literally filter out opportunities for wealth. You could walk right past a lucrative business opportunity, and your brain will not even register it consciously because it doesn't align with the internal map.
Wow. It is confirmation bias on a neurological level.
Precisely.
That makes perfect sense biologically.
Yeah.
But what about the physics side of it, the cosmic echo part?
So the universe does not judge your desires, nor does it reward moral goodness with material wealth in a linear human way. The cosmos operates on an architecture of resonance.
Like sound waves.
Think of acoustic physics, yeah.
Yeah.
If you have two tuning forks of the exact same pitch in a room and you strike one, the sound waves travel through the air and the second tuning fork will spontaneously begin to vibrate.
Oh, right, because they match.
Exactly. It is an undeniable law of resonance. The universe operates the exact same way with our dominant subconscious frequencies. It simply mirrors the frequency we emit.
So if someone constantly vocalizes, or even just deeply, silently believes at their core that life is an endless struggle, that people are fundamentally untrustworthy, and that they will always be poor, The cosmic architecture responds with absolute agreement.
It echoes back. Yes, you are right.
That is wow.
It is a profound mechanism of validation. If you broadcast the frequency of betrayal, the universe will flawlessly orchestrate your path to intersect with individuals whose own energetic output perfectly matches the role of the betrayer.
Because your bouncer let them in.
Yes, you will walk right past a multitude of honest people. Your RAS will filter them out, and you will lock eyes with the one person who will prove your trauma right. It is a system that always says yes to whatever we intensely believe.
That is staggering when you apply it to an individual life. But what happens when we extrapolate that beyond a single person?
What do you mean?
Like, what happens when a vast constellation of individuals shares the exact same frequency?
This raises an incredibly important point about collective energy. We see this constantly in human history. When a society, a nation, or a global community vibrates with a shared, intense fear of scarcity, when an immense multitude of people are simultaneously expecting economic collapse, disaster, or violent conflict, they collectively manifest a harsher reality.
It's like social contagion, but on an energetic scale.
Yes. The combined energetic output creates a thick, heavy atmospheric density. People become defensive, they hoard resources, trust evaporates, and this collective behavioral and energetic shift actually shapes geopolitical and economic events.
The outer world reflects the inner world.
The macrocosm is merely a magnified reflection of the microcosm of human consciousness. If the collective subconscious expects a fight, the world provides the battlefield.
Okay, so this leads directly to the frustration of the person who is actively trying to change all of this.
The people doing the affirmations.
Right. What does this all mean for the listener who is saying, wait a minute, I understand all this, and I am thinking positively. I say positive affirmations every single morning in the mirror. I have a vision board covering my wall. I try so hard to be optimistic, but my life is still an absolute mess. I am still experiencing immense hardship.
It's a very real frustration.
Why isn't the cosmic echo responding to their positive thoughts? If they are saying the right things, why is the universe still saying no?
Because a solitary spark of positive conscious thought cannot immediately burn down a massive, ancient forest of subconscious negative programming. Imagine your conscious mind is a tiny, modern speaker whispering, I am wealthy, I am safe. But right behind it, your subconscious vault has a towering wall of stadium-sized amplifiers screaming, money is dangerous, scarcity is safe, we are going to starve.
And the universe hears the amps.
The cosmic echo responds to the loudest, deepest, most dominant frequency. It does not respond to the superficial, conscious whisper.
Wow. So you can't just slap a fresh coat of paint over rotting wood and expect the house to stand strong.
Exactly. Shifting this reality requires deep, intentional clearing of the old codes. It is not about lying to yourself with happy thoughts. It is about rewriting the foundational software.
And that perfectly transitions us into how we actually communicate with this system to begin that rewrite. Because we are constantly interacting with this cosmic architecture. We are constantly, day in and day out, ordering from what we can call the cosmic menu. But our vocabulary is entirely, fundamentally flawed.
It really is.
We assume the universe understands human linguistics perfectly. But words are not just abstract symbols on a page.
No, words are actual building blocks of matter. They carry weight, they carry distinct vibratory signatures, and here is the most critical linguistic rule of the unseen world, which aligns perfectly with how human neurology processes language. The subconscious mind, and by extension the cosmic echo, does not understand negative modifiers.
Meaning words like not or don't.
Right. It simply cannot process the concepts of don't, not, or no.
Let's break down the mechanism of why that is. Why does the brain skip the negative modifier? Let's say I tell you, do not think of a giant blue elephant. What just happened in your brain?
Well, to process the command, my brain first has to retrieve the image of the blue elephant from my memory banks, reconstruct it in my mind's eye, and hold it there.
Right, you have to picture it first.
Only then can my conscious, logical brain attempt to push the image away. But the subconscious, the part that actually generates the frequency, reacts instantly to the image itself. The subconscious doesn't hear do not, it just sees the blue elephant.
This is huge when we apply it to our fears.
Yeah.
So if I'm standing on the edge of a sheer cliff looking down, my heart is pounding and I keep telling myself, don't fall, don't fall, don't fall. What is my subconscious hearing? What is my nervous system preparing for?
Your subconscious translates that hidden code directly to fall, fall, fall.
Because it just sees the fall.
It visualizes the tragedy of the fall. The nervous system reacts to that visualization by flooding your body with adrenaline. Your muscles tense inappropriately. You actually compromise your own physical balance because your body is preparing for the impact it believes is imminent.
Oh my God.
The same applies to health. If you constantly repeat, I am not sick, I will not get sick, the dominant frequency generated by your mind is the concept of sick. The universe and your own immune system hears the dominant energetic word.
I love the cosmic menu analogy for this.
Mhm.
Imagine walking into a beautifully lit, exceptionally high-end restaurant.
Okay, I'm visualizing it.
The waiter approaches,
Yeah.
hands you the menu, pulls out a notepad, and asks for your order. You look at them and say, well, I absolutely despise the fish, so don't bring me that. Please keep the overly salty soup far away from my table. And I'm absolutely terrified of getting the dried chicken, so make sure that doesn't happen.
The waiter would stand there completely baffled.
Right. You haven't ordered anything.
Yeah.
You've just given them a highly detailed, anxious inventory of your culinary fears. They have no idea what you actually want to eat.
Yet, this is precisely how the overwhelming majority of humanity sends intentions into the universe.
They pray for what they don't want.
They pray, they wish, they hope, and they say, please don't let me fail this exam, or keep me away from crushing poverty, or don't let my partner leave me, I couldn't handle the heartbreak.
And the universe just hears the nouns.
The universe, acting as the ultimate impartial waiter, taking the order exactly as the dominant frequency dictates, hears fail, poverty, heartbreak.
So we have to state exactly what we desire using the vocabulary of the destination, not the vocabulary of the fear we are running from.
Exactly.
We have to say, I am ordering deep comprehension for this exam. I am ordering profound financial flow. I am ordering a secure, loving partnership.
Yes, focus on the presence of what you want, not the absence of what you fear.
But it is not just about robotic phrasing, is it? Like, we can't just memorize the quote-unquote correct sentences and expect magic. There is a beautiful ancient parable about a wanderer and a shepherd that perfectly illustrates the true soul of this communication.
Oh, yes. It is a story from the distant past that captures this essence perfectly. There was a learned wanderer, a man who had dedicated his entire life to studying the grand texts.
Very intellectual.
Highly. He knew the precise geometric formulas of the universe, the exact chants, the rigid formal incantations required to speak to the cosmos. One day, he is walking through the rugged hills, and he overhears a simple, uneducated shepherd expressing his devotion to the universe.
And the shepherd isn't using any grand vocabulary, right?
Not at all. The shepherd is speaking in crude, everyday, highly physical terms. He is looking up at the sky and saying things like, oh, universe, if you were here with me right now in the flesh, I would wash your tired feet. I would share my finest goat's milk with you. I would gently pick the lice from your hair to make you comfortable.
I can just imagine the wanderer's reaction. He must have been absolutely horrified.
He was entirely scandalized. He marches over and scolds the shepherd intensely. He tells him that his words are deeply disrespectful, that the universe is a vast, formless, infinite intelligence that certainly does not have hair, does not suffer from lice, and does not drink goat's milk.
He's missing the point completely.
Entirely. He tells the shepherd he is insulting the cosmos. And out of a sense of duty, the wanderer forces the poor shepherd to sit down and memorize a rigid, formal, perfectly constructed linguistic incantation.
And the shepherd, probably terrified that he has been offending the very universe he loves, tries his best. He stumbles through the rigid formula, but his heart is completely heavy.
He is disconnected.
Yeah, he is just reciting words out of fear of getting it wrong.
Precisely. But then the cosmos intervenes. The wanderer, walking away feeling very proud of himself, receives a profound, undeniable cosmic correction.
A message from the universe.
Yes. A massive intuition strikes him. A message revealing that he has committed a terrible error. The universe tells him that the raw, pure, unpolished sincerity of the shepherd's original crude words carried a far higher, more potent frequency than any hollow, rigid formula the wanderer had ever spoken in his life.
Because the words themselves didn't matter. It was the emotion behind them.
Exactly. The shepherd's crude words were vibrating with the immense, undeniable energy of absolute, unconditional love and a desire to serve. The wanderer's perfect words were vibrating with intellectual arrogance and rigid control.
I think about that story so often when I see people stressing out about whether they are phrasing their affirmations correctly.
They get so caught up in the syntax.
Right. It reminds us that sincerity and emotional resonance will always, always trump exact phrasing. You can stand in the mirror and say the perfect affirmation, I am a magnet for profound wealth. But if your chest is tight with anxiety, if your stomach is in knots, and if your subconscious is screaming in disbelief,
You are not ordering wealth.
no.
Yeah.
You are just ordering fear from the cosmic menu, but you're doing it using polite, spiritual-sounding words.
This raises an important question for everyone listening to this right now. Examine how you speak to life. Are you speaking to the universe with the vibrant, joyful, relaxed energy of what you desire?
Or are you just giving it a detailed, anxious inventory of your fears wrapped in a thin veneer of positive thinking?
That is a heavy question to sit with.
It really is. And it leads us directly into a subject where our fears, our anxieties, and our societal programming are perhaps the loudest, the physics of wealth.
Oh, this is a massive block for so many people.
We've been conditioned to view wealth as cold, hard mathematics. We see it as metal coins, pieces of paper, and digital spreadsheets. But
Yeah.
fundamentally, if we peel back the illusion, wealth is an energy.
It is entirely an energy. Specifically, wealth is an energy of exchange, of movement, of love and flow. But societal programming has severely warped our perception of it.
How so?
We are burdened by the passage of eras where wealth was hoarded by the few, weaponized against the many, and misused to create immense suffering. Because of that history, collective beliefs have formed and been embedded deeply into our subconscious vaults.
Beliefs like money corrupts, or rich people are inherently greedy, or the classic money is the root of all evil.
Yes. And we must understand the mechanism of what those beliefs do. They act as invisible, impenetrable, energetic shields.
Shields against abundance.
Right. If your subconscious child believes that having money turns a person into an evil, corrupt monster, and the subconscious child's only job is to keep you safe and ensure you remain a good part of the tribe,
It will block the money.
it will aggressively, relentlessly repel the flow of financial abundance. It will deflect the wealth away from you to protect your soul.
But wait, let me play devil's advocate here.
Go ahead.
Because there are plenty of terrible, highly corrupt, deeply greedy people in the world who have amassed immense, staggering wealth. They certainly aren't vibrating pure, unconditional love and positive flow. How does the physics of wealth account for the ruthless billionaire who crushes everyone in their path?
That is a brilliant distinction to make. Wealth can absolutely be acquired through extreme force. This brings us to the equilibrium of energies within us, the balance of masculine and feminine energies.
Okay, let's define those energies so we have a shared vocabulary. And just to be clear, we aren't talking about gender here.
No, not at all. We are not talking about gender or biology here. We are talking about universal energetic principles present in every single human being, regardless of how they identify.
Perfect. So what are they?
Masculine energy is the architecture. It is action, structure, logic, pushing forward, exerting force, and building the container.
And the feminine?
Feminine energy is the water that fills the container. It is receptivity, intuition, flow, creation, and the ability to attract and receive without force.
So the ruthless billionaire,
The ruthless hoarder of wealth is operating almost entirely on hypermasculine energy. Pure force, pure action. They can amass a mountain of currency through sheer will and structural dominance.
but is that true wealth?
No, that is the acquisition of currency, not the state of true flowing abundance. The hoarder is driven by the ultimate fear of scarcity. They have built a massive fortress of money, but they are terrified inside it.
Because they have to constantly defend it.
Their energy is entirely stagnant, defensive, and paranoid. They cannot rest. They cannot truly receive joy. True, liberating wealth requires a beautifully balanced equilibrium of both action and reception.
So if there is a tragedy of energetic imbalance within a normal person, how does that manifest? Let's say a child grows up in a highly volatile environment where they feel they must constantly defend themselves just to survive.
In that environment, vulnerability is a liability. So the child suppresses their natural feminine energy, their innate ability to rest, to trust the process, to remain open and receive.
To shut it down.
They do. They adopt an overly rigid, hypermasculine survival mode. They believe they must fight for every single inch of ground. They are always doing, always pushing, always managing every detail.
When that happens, they build an incredibly strong, rigid container,
Yeah.
but they have completely blocked the natural flow of cosmic reception.
They simply cannot receive.
You see this in people who deflect compliments, who physically cringe when someone tries to help them, and who absolutely cannot allow the ease of wealth to flow to them without feeling guilty.
It's so common. And this imbalance manifests as chronic exhaustion. Their life feels like an endless, grueling uphill battle. The energy is simply gridlocked because the receive valve is rusted shut.
And what is truly fascinating is how this internal psychological gridlock is perfectly mirrored in our external environment.
Oh, the environment is a huge indicator.
Right. The physical world is just a dense reflection of the energetic one. We can literally look at our homes, our living spaces, as an architectural manifestation of our subconscious minds. This is the extended mind thesis in action.
Let's explore that, because our environment is essentially an externalized cognitive map. How does the home reflect the internal state of wealth?
It is a seamless mirror. Let's examine specific zones of the home. The area where food is prepared. The kitchen represents the entrance of wealth, sustenance, and health. It is the hearth of manifestation.
It is where raw elements are transformed into life-giving energy.
Exactly. If you have a state of disrepair there, for instance, a chronic leaking pipe under the sink, it is not just a frustrating plumbing issue.
Wait, you're saying a leaky pipe is draining my bank account?
Energetically and psychologically, yes. The constant drip is a literal drain on your resources. It represents a subconscious leakage of your abundance.
Because it's a constant low-level stressor.
Right. Every time you look at it, or even just know it's there, it creates a micro spike of cortisol. It reinforces the program of neglect and lack of maintenance in your own life.
I remember looking around my own kitchen after learning this principle and immediately getting out a wrench to tighten a loose faucet that had been dripping for months.
Good for you. It felt like you were tightening your own energetic boundaries, didn't it?
It really did.
And then there is the area of cleansing, the bathroom, which represents the exit of wealth. It is where things are flushed away, where the body releases what it no longer needs.
Precisely. The flow here must be clean, swift, and unburdened. If that area is dominated by stagnant, heavy earth tones, dark browns, murky, swampy colors, it visually and energetically blocks the natural, clean flow of release,
It creates an atmosphere of stagnation.
leading to energetic constipation. This can literally manifest in a person's life as an inability to let go of old, dead-end jobs, an inability to clear old debts, or an inability to release emotional baggage.
So how do we fix that? Because
Right.
we can't all just remodel our bathrooms today.
You introduce life. Adding vibrant, upward-growing plant life to that space restores the equilibrium. It brings living, vibrant, upward energy to a space that is naturally defined by downward flow. It creates harmony.
That's a great practical tip. And even something as small and personal as a wallet acts as a physical magnetic field.
Oh, wallets are huge telltales.
I used to treat my wallet like a portable trash can. It was stuffed with crumpled, disorganized bills facing every which way, dozens of old, faded receipts from things I bought months ago, and mixed heavily with the energy of debt, several maxed-out credit cards right next to the cash.
By doing that, you are creating a chaotic, incredibly heavy magnetic field. You are actively repelling incoming wealth because the physical and energetic space of your financial container was already fully occupied.
Occupied by garbage, basically.
Occupied by the frequency of disarray, past expenditures, and the heavy burden of debt.
You must prepare the physical space to mirror the respect and readiness you have for the incoming energy. You have to straighten the bills, face them all the same direction.
Clear out the artifacts of past spending. Take out the receipts.
By clearing the clutter, you create an intentional void. And nature, including the cosmos, abhors a vacuum. It is naturally inclined to fill a prepared, respectful void with new flow.
Clearing the artifacts of the past, that is a profound metaphor for our next transition. Because the physical clutter in our wallets or our kitchens is absolutely nothing compared to the dense emotional clutter we carry in our body.
The weight of the past.
Yes. This brings us to a topic that is often deeply misunderstood. Forgiveness.
Oh boy. This is a tough one for a lot of people.
It is, but it is perhaps the most vital aspect of the deep subconscious clearing we discussed earlier. Holding on to anger, harboring deep-seated resentment, and maintaining a rigid victim mentality does not just make you feel bad emotionally.
It's not just a sour mood.
No. In the physics of the unseen world and in the neurobiology of your body, it creates a thick, dark, parasitic, energetic cord connecting you directly to the source of your pain.
Okay, I want to use an analogy here because we often hear people say you're carrying a heavy burden, but that feels a bit cliched. Let's look at it like technology.
I like that.
Holding on to a bitter resentment isn't just a memory sitting passively in your brain. It is like keeping a massive, highly demanding background app constantly running on your phone.
Oh, that's a great way to look at it.
You wonder why your battery is completely dead by noon, why your entire operating system is lagging, while you have no processing power left for creativity or joy. It's because a huge percentage of your system's resources is tied up in a background dispute that you absolutely refuse to force close.
That is an exceptionally accurate mechanism. Let's look at the biology of that background app. When you harbor a grudge, every time you think of that person or that event, your brain cannot tell the difference between the memory and a current threat.
It reacts as if it's happening right now.
It triggers the sympathetic nervous system. It floods your body with cortisol and adrenaline. Over time, this creates a state of high allostatic load chronic systemic inflammation. You are literally degrading your own cellular health.
And energetically, what's happening there?
Energetically, the cosmos operates on absolute mathematical balance. By clinging to the grievance, you inadvertently surrender your sovereign power to the person who hurt you.
You give them your power.
You make your emotional baseline, your battery life, entirely dependent on another person's realization, apology, or suffering. You are actively feeding them your life force through that dark cord.
Because you're so attached to them.
Exactly. And because your system is so drained, your dominant frequency lowers to a level where you become an absolute magnet for repeated misfortunes, further betrayals, and inevitably, physical illness.
Now, I know listeners are thinking, what about unforgivable things? What about profound intentional abuse? Are you saying I just have to let them off the hook?
No, absolutely not.
So we have to radically redefine forgiveness here. It has absolutely nothing to do with moral superiority, and it certainly isn't about reconciling with someone dangerous or saying their terrible action was acceptable.
Not at all. Forgiveness is not reconciliation. It is a tactical severing of a parasitic tie. It is an act of extreme, uncompromising self-preservation.
You're doing it for you, not them.
When you forgive, you are force closing the background app. You are cutting the cord. You are saying, I refuse to let your actions from the distant past dictate my cellular health and my financial flow in the present moment.
By releasing the grievance, you step back into the vibrant flow of life.
You reclaim your energy to build your own destiny, and you allow universal justice to handle the scales. You stop wasting your battery life fueling a ghost.
To accomplish this severing, there is an ancient universal practice of vocal resonance. It is stunning in its simplicity, but it is an absolute scalpel for cutting these energetic cords.
It is so powerful.
And it involves using the vocal cords, which physically stimulates the vagus nerve, helping to shift the body out of that fight-or-flight state. It is built on 4 pillars of release that you speak aloud, ideally while visualizing the person or the pain.
The sequence is highly intentional. The first pillar is acknowledging the shared, flawed human shadow. You say aloud, I'm sorry.
Now, people struggle with this one. They say, why should I apologize? They hurt me.
This is not necessarily apologizing for the specific conflict or taking blame for their abuse. It is acknowledging the broader truth that we are all part of the same messy, flawed human tapestry.
It's a humbling step.
It is an admission that our own shadows, our own misunderstandings have contributed to the collective friction of the world at some point. It humbles the ego, which is completely necessary to cut the cord.
The second pillar is asking for the energetic untangling. Please forgive me. Again, this is not begging the abuser for mercy.
No, you're speaking to the universe.
Right. It is a plea to the cosmos, to the higher architecture, to untangle the messy, knotty vibrations that tie you to this specific pain. It is asking for the release of the bond.
The third is expressing profound gratitude for the lesson. Thank you. This is where the true alchemy happens.
Why is that one the alchemy?
This shifts your frequency instantly and violently from victimhood to empowerment. You are thanking the universe for the resistance. You are recognizing that this intense hardship acted as the heavyweight in the gym that forced your soul to grow stronger.
You are extracting the wisdom and leaving the pain.
And the final, ultimate healing frequency. The solvent that dissolves the cord. I love you. Or, if that feels entirely too difficult or inappropriate for the situation, I release you with love.
I release you with love. That is so freeing.
Sending love into the darkness is what actually dissolves the attachment. Hate, anger, and wishing them ill just thickens the cord because hate is an attachment emotion.
You cannot hate someone without being bound to them.
Exactly. Love, however, is the highest vibratory solvent in the universe. It requires no attachment. When you resonate these 4 pillars, you are actively re-architecting your energetic field. You are taking your power back from the vault.
This all sounds incredible in theory. But here is the practical roadblock. How do we actually know what is hidden in our specific vault?
That's the challenge.
I can sit here all day and consciously say, I am totally ready for massive success. I have no limiting beliefs. But as we established, the conscious mind is incredibly skilled at lying to itself.
Oh, it will fabricate endless rationalizations.
So how do we bypass the conscious liar and read the hidden code?
This is where we move out of philosophy and psychology and into pure physical mechanics. The conscious mind can and will lie to protect the ego. But the physical body cannot lie.
The body keeps the score.
It does. The body is the direct physical readout of the subconscious mind. Every thought creates a corresponding physical reaction. We can communicate directly with the vault using a method involving the body's muscular responses.
I have tried this, and I have to admit, the first time it happens, it feels almost startling. The body acts as a literal pendulum of truth. But let's ground this. How exactly does this protocol work? Are we talking about the Earth's magnetic pull mysteriously moving my body?
Well, it is based on the ideomotor response and cognitive dissonance. Your body naturally aligns with the subtle magnetic fields of the Earth, providing a stabilizing baseline. When you stand upright, relaxed, with your arms loosely at your sides, facing magnetic north, you are in a state of physical equilibrium.
Okay, and you close your eyes.
You close your eyes to shut out highly stimulating external visual data.
Okay, so I am standing there, relaxed, eyes closed. What next?
First, you must calibrate the pendulum. You need to establish the body's baseline for yes and no. You speak an undeniable, absolute truth aloud, loudly enough for your own ears to hear something irrefutable like, "My name is," and then state your actual name.
And what happens biomechanically when I say my true name?
Because your subconscious instantaneously recognizes this as an absolute truth, there is zero cognitive dissonance. The nervous system signals complete safety. As a result, the flexor muscles in your body minutely relax.
They start to sway.
Because of the subtle magnetic pull and the relaxation of the musculature, your body will naturally, involuntarily sway slightly forward. A forward sway indicates resonance, agreement, and truth within the hidden mind.
So forward is the baseline for yes.
Exactly. Then you calibrate the negative response. You state an obvious, absurd falsehood aloud. "I am a wooden chair."
And because my brain knows I am a human being, not a piece of furniture.
The subconscious instantly recognizes the incongruence. This falsehood creates a microscopic, almost undetectable stress response. The nervous system detects an error. This causes the flexor muscles to tense slightly in a defensive posture, and you will naturally, involuntarily sway backward.
So backward sway indicates rejection, stress, and falsehood.
Right. Once you have your baseline forward for a subconscious yes, backward for a subconscious no, you have a direct communication line. You can start testing the deep hidden programs we talked about earlier.
You can just ask it.
You stand there in the quiet of your room and state, "I am entirely worthy of profound wealth," or "I am safe when I am deeply loved," or "I deserve to heal from this illness."
And this is where the stark truth is revealed. You might consciously desperately want wealth, but when you state, "I am worthy of profound wealth," you might feel an undeniable, immediate backward sway.
Your body is betraying the conscious mind. Your muscles are tensing. Your body is telling you, "No, we do not believe that. We have a hidden program operating in the background that says wealth is a threat."
That diagnostic phase is incredibly confronting, but necessary.
Right.
But diagnosing the virus isn't the same as deleting it. Once we find that restrictive program, let's say the body sways backward on, "I am safe when I am loved," revealing a massive block to intimacy. How do we uninstall it?
Right, because we can't just highlight the thought and hit delete on a keyboard.
Exactly.
Actually, through the principles of neuroplasticity and directed focus, you can do something remarkably close to that. The mind, when placed in a state of calm receptivity, responds to clear, authoritative directives. Once you identify the false program, you enter a deep, relaxed state, taking several slow, regulating breaths to engage the parasympathetic nervous system.
You are calming the guard dogs of the mind.
Precisely. Then you consciously address your inner architecture. You state aloud with absolute authority. Subconscious, I ask that the program "I am not safe when loved" be entirely deleted, uninstalled, and cleared across all levels of my being on a short, decisive rhythm.
Then you count.
And then you count aloud. 1,
Right.
2, 3. It is done.
You acknowledge the deletion. But as we said earlier, nature abhors a vacuum. You cannot just leave a gaping hole in your psychological programming.
Correct. If you leave a void, the old program will simply seep back in because it is a familiar neural pathway. You must immediately install the empowering counterbelief.
How do they do that?
Remaining in that calm, authoritative state, you declare, "Subconscious, I ask that the new program 'I am entirely safe, protected, and inherently worthy when I am deeply loved' be installed, integrated, and activated across all levels of my being on a slightly longer integrating rhythm. And you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is installed. Thank you.
I love the use of the counting rhythm. It gives the brain a temporal structure to execute the command. It creates a beginning, a process, and an end to the mental action.
If we look at the magnitude of this process, you are literally accessing the developer mode of your own consciousness. You are no longer just a passive end user running the pre-installed buggy software of your ancestors. You are sitting at the keyboard. You are actively writing the code of your future.
This massive realization brings us to the physical vessel itself. We've talked extensively about the mind, the psychological mechanisms, the words we speak, and even the architecture of our homes. But our actual physical body is the ultimate conduit for all of this experience.
It is the hardware.
Right. And the life force, the energy we've been discussing, doesn't just slosh around randomly inside us like water in a balloon. It flows through a highly organized, deeply intelligent system of energetic hubs.
Yes, the wheels of vitality. Now, for the listener who prefers strict anatomy, we can map these directly to the major nerve plexuses and endocrine glands of the physical body.
So from the foundation of the spine to the very crown of the head, life force travels through a specific sequence of vital hubs.
Exactly. Each hub governs a specific domain of our physical and emotional reality. When the negative programming we've been discussing takes hold, when the fears, background apps of resentment, and the scarcity mentalities are running, they create physical density and muscular tension that block these nerve hubs.
And when a hub is blocked, the reality it governs distorts.
Let's travel through this somatic map because understanding these hubs gives us a diagnostic tool for our own physical and emotional friction. We start at the very bottom, the foundation hub, located at the base of the spine.
Corresponding to the pelvic floor and the adrenal glands. Right?
Yes, the foundation governs our most primal baseline needs. Pure physical survival, safety, and our deep sense of belonging to the earth and our community. When this hub is blocked by the epigenetic fears we discussed, or by early childhood trauma regarding instability, the manifestation is severe.
It creates overwhelming financial panic.
It creates a hoarding mentality where you can never have enough because you never feel safe. Chronically, it keeps the adrenals firing, leading to severe physical lethargy, immune suppression, and frequently manifests as chronic lower back pain.
It's the am I going to survive center. If that is blocked, nothing else matters. Moving slightly up, just below the navel, corresponding to the enteric nervous system and the reproductive organs, we have the creative core.
This hub governs inspiration, joy, sensuality, adaptability, and the sheer, unadulterated pleasure of existence. It is the birthplace of new life and new ideas.
A blockage here is often caused by societal programming that tells us we must suppress our natural desires or that we are unworthy of pure joy.
When this hub shuts down, the result is profound apathy. Life entirely loses its color. You feel emotionally numb, structurally rigid, unable to adapt to change, entirely cut off from the flowing feminine energy of abundance we discussed earlier.
Then we reach the power center, located right in the solar plexus, the stomach area, corresponding to the celiac plexus.
The power center is the furnace. It is the seat of confidence, personal will, and exactly how we digest life's events, both physically and emotionally.
So if you are harboring a deep victim mentality, if you are constantly giving your sovereign power away to others to keep the peace, this hub constricts.
You struggle immensely with decision-making. You suffer from low self-esteem. And predictably, you often experience literal chronic digestive issues because your body cannot process the energetic input of your daily experiences. You cannot digest your reality.
And above that stomach area is the crucial, monumental pivot point, the bridge, the heart center, corresponding to the cardiac plexus and the powerful vagus nerve.
The heart is the great mediator. It connects the denser, physical lower hubs of survival to the expansive, cosmic upper hubs of consciousness. It governs pure, unconditional love, deep compassion, and the capacity for true forgiveness.
We discussed that dark, parasitic cord of resentment earlier. That cord attaches directly here, draining the heart.
Blockages in this hub manifest emotionally as profound isolation, bitterness, and jealousy. Physically, it creates respiratory restriction, asthma, or cardiac tension. When this hub opens, when you sever the cords, you experience the profound interconnectedness of all life.
Moving up to the throat, corresponding to the pharyngeal plexus and the thyroid, we find the resonance center.
This center governs your authentic truth and your ability to express it. It is the mechanism through which you project your inner reality into the outer physical world.
If you constantly swallow your words, if you live a fabricated life just to please others, or if you constantly speak from the vocabulary of fear, ordering from the cosmic menu incorrectly, this hub powerfully constricts.
It leads to the perpetual feeling of being unheard and misunderstood, and physically it can create chronic throat infections, tension in the neck, and thyroid imbalances.
Just above that, located centrally between the eyebrows, tied to the pineal and pituitary glands, is the visionary center.
This is the seat of deep intuition and the power of manifestation. It is the inner eye that sees beyond the immediate physical illusion and visualizes the malleable path.
When this center is blocked by an over-reliance on rigid, cynical logic or an absolute refusal to trust your inner knowing, you lack vision.
You literally cannot envision a better future for yourself. You can only see the past repeating. When it spins freely, you possess penetrating insight and the ability to clearly visualize and call forth your desires from the quantum field.
Finally, at the absolute zenith, the very top of the head, corresponding to the cerebral cortex and our highest states of consciousness, is the cosmic crown.
The crown governs our ultimate connection to the infinite source of all existence. It is the profound realization that you are not merely a tiny, isolated drop in a hostile ocean, but rather you are the entire ocean expressing itself in a single drop.
Blockages here manifest as profound spiritual isolation, a deep, crushing existential dread, and a feeling of being entirely disconnected from the universe and your own purpose.
To keep these vital hubs spinning with perfect, vibrant resonance, and to keep the nervous system in a state of optimal flow, there's an incredible daily visualization practice.
I highly encourage everyone listening to try this as a method of regulating their nervous system. Close your eyes and vividly imagine a brilliant, pure, liquid light descending from the absolute zenith of the cosmos.
See it enter through the cosmic crown at the top of your head, washing downward like a warm, glowing waterfall.
As it touches and permeates each hub, visualize it dissolving the dark, stagnant, tar-like energy of tension and fear. You can literally visualize the hubs, the nerve centers beginning to spin faster, glowing brighter, sweeping away the heavy debris of epigenetic fear and childhood scarcity.
See this light traveling all the way down to the base of your spine until your entire physical vessel is a blazing, unobstructed column of resonance.
It is a practice of ultimate energetic and somatic hygiene. Just as you would never go months without washing the physical dirt from your outer body, you must actively daily watch the energetic debris from your internal hubs to remain a clear, highly conductive conduit for the magnificent life you wish to create.
We have covered an immense, staggering landscape of human potential today.
We really have. We started this journey deep in the dark hull of a ship, feeling the relatable frustration of being a helpless passenger at the mercy of an invisible captain.
We rigorously explored the toddler-like logic of the subconscious vault, the biological reality of our inherited trauma, and the cosmic echo of how the universe mirrors our dominant frequencies.
We examine the massive physical weight of the words we speak and the absolute necessity of ordering correctly from the cosmos.
We analyzed the true physics of wealth, realizing it is a flow of energy requiring a balance of action and reception.
We faced the absolute, uncompromising necessity of severing the parasitic cords of the past through tactical forgiveness.
And we mapped the tangible mechanics of communicating directly with our bodies to uninstall limiting codes, tracing that energy all the way through the vital hubs of our physical architecture.
The initial suffocating feeling of being a helpless passenger in your own life should now be completely shattered. Your inner world, the codes you choose to keep and the codes you choose to rewrite, is the true, undeniable origin point of your external reality.
When you actively shift from a mindset of inherited scarcity and background resentment to one of conscious reprogramming, deep gratitude, and intentional energetic hygiene, you are no longer drifting toward the rocks.
You step into your true, sovereign potential as a cosmic architect. The power to change your life does not reside out there. It does not exist in the chaotic circumstances of the world, or the fluctuations of the economy, or the unpredictable actions of others.
The ultimate creative power already exists within your very cells, waiting for your conscious command. The cosmos is infinitely patient, waiting for your precise instructions.
Every single thought you choose to focus on today, every word you consciously speak, every old grievance you bravely release, actively builds the physical, tangible architecture of your tomorrow.
It really does.
Before we part ways, I want you to consider this final thought. If your subconscious mind, acting out of profound love and terror, has spent your entire life diligently, tirelessly building massive fortresses and heavy walls to keep you safe from a danger that ended eras ago.
Just trying to protect you.
Right. What magnificent, staggering empires could that exact same powerful mind build for you tomorrow if you finally gave it the explicit permission to stop defending and start designing?